Hi everyone, it's Tuesday 12th of November and I'm looking forward to Saturday 25th of November 2023. I'm going to fully focus on what is one of the highlights of the UK endurance running scene, which happens at Sefton Park, Liverpool, annually. I haven't changed it from that venue for a long time now. And it's the trials for the European Cross Country Championships, although it is a UK Cross Challenge event, and there are races for under 11s right through to seniors, but the main focus is on the under 20s and the combined under 23 and senior races, which feature as the trials for the upcoming European Championships in Belgium. Now, there's also a short course relay trial over about a mile, and that should be entertaining. That's on first thing, but the trouble is I haven't got the list of the entries because it's done by application and it's all a bit hush hush, so there's some people's names who will appear on the entry list for the cross challenge and the trial, the long course trials, who actually might do the short run. The other difficulty for somebody doing the research is the entries don't specify the under 23s, but you can find all the entries on the Liverpool UK Cross Challenge website. Entries have closed now and they all seem to be on there. The short course trials 10:30 and 10:35 a.m. right at the beginning of the programme, and then you've got the under 20 women at 12:05, under 20 men at 1:45, 1:05 the senior women, and 2:05 is the senior men. If you want to see the selection policy, it's under performance at the UK Athletics website. But basically the top four in the seniors, excluding under 23s, and the top four in the under 23s will get automatic selection for a 6-person team, although they will take full teams, I believe. And for the under 20s, it's the top five will go. Only the winners of the short course trial will be automatically selected for the relay team. So there's 2 men, 2 women in that, but only the women's winner of the trial and the men's winner of the trial will go. As I say, not sure who's in those, so I'm going to put those to one side and just purely focus on the senior men's and senior women's longer course trials. And there's a live stream which seems to be appearing on British Athletics TV and also England Athletics Vids YouTube channels, so that'd be good for those that can't get to Sefton Park. I hope to be there this year, and I should imagine, looking at the weather, it's going to be pretty boggy in places. I don't think there's any chance of a frost and freezing over, so that's what it's going to be like, which might actually, what should I say, chuck some form out the window, because we've seen a lot of dry cross country and a lot of road racing going on, which I'll come to. So let's start with the women, and I'll come up with some predictions at the end. But on the women, which is just over 8k, there's 7 of last year's top 10 will return, and the ones that are missing, there doesn't seem to be Amy Eloise Markov, who was 4th last year, Grace Carson, who was 6th, or Carrie Hughes, who was 9th. But looking through, we've got Jess Warner-Judd, who won last year, but recently was 5th at Cardiff in a race won quite convincingly by Megan Keith, who was 2nd in last year's trial. And Megan is under 23, one of the top under 23 really. 3rd last year in reasonably good form, no cross-country form, but ran and won the Leeds 10k in 32:05 at the end of October, is Abby Donnelly, and she's very consistent and expect her to be right up there. 5th last year, Jess Gibbon seems to be getting back into form. She was 8th at Cardiff, real cross-country expert, and the conditions won't faze Jess, I wouldn't imagine, so I expect her to be up there again. Sometimes overlooked, but had a cracking run last year, was Poppy Tank, who was 7th. Alex Millard, who's another under 23. She was 8th last year. She was 10th at Cardiff this year. So we're getting to see some patterns from the UK Cross Challenge at Cardiff recently, a couple of weeks ago. You get to see a few that were competing there. And in 10th last year was Sarah Astin, who went on to even greater things by winning the National Cross Country Championships back in February. Her latest form seems to be 6th at the Great South 10 miles, which is a pretty good run. And she was also part of the women's team for Belgrave that won the National Cross Country Relays at Mansfield. So that's those that finished in the top 10 last year. And then turning to those that have got recent form, or got a good reputation, you'd expect to be up there. You've got Izzy Fry, who was 6th at Cardiff recently. Neve Bridston Hubbard, who was 11th at Cardiff. Ellie Wallace was 13th, Neve Brown 14th, and Jenny Nesbitt 15th, all at Cardiff. So you've got some known form there, where quite a few of the athletes were competing against each other. On that day, Hannah Irwin, who'd been a little bit unwell in the week, ran the mile and won that convincingly, but she stated that her intention is to go for the longer course at Liverpool. Before that, she was 3rd in the Great South 10 miles, so clearly in good form. So I presume that illness didn't knock her back too much. So expect Hannah Irwin to be competing up there. I'd also throw in Melissa Courtney Bryant. Never know quite what to expect. She was 19th last year, top quality athlete. Last race though was the Diamond League 1500 metre final. So that was back in September. So probably more doing it for training, but it might be a bit disparaging to Melissa there. She might be actually in good shape and really going for it, but who knows. You throw in Amelia Quirk, who was first Brit and 7th in Spain recently, and she was ahead of Kate Axford, who was 8th in Spain. And Kate's been racing regularly for Belgrave in the road relays and the cross-country relays. So this will be her first opportunity for a UK cross-country trial. And then a whole load of others. You've got Beatrice Wood, who's under 23, won the National Cross Country under 20s this year. Eloise Walker won the Scottish short course recently against Kirsty Walker. Kirsty Walker is also running. She was 2nd. Eloise Walker is under 23. Got Rebecca Murray, won the Chiltern League convincingly and was in October and was 12th last year at Liverpool. You got Scout Atkin, who won the Scottish National back in February. Tia Wilson, 8th fastest at Mansfield at under 23. Look out for her. Bethan Morley, another under 23. 3rd fastest at Mansfield. Another one to look out for. And then bit unknown form, we've got Alice Goodall, who's the European under 23 10,000 metre champion, but only 10th at the Scottish Short Course Championships recently. So there you go. So I've named a few under 23s there: Megan Keith, Alex Millard, Beer Wood, Eloise Walker, Tia Wilson, Bethan Morley, Alice Goodall. So there's a bunch of under 23s. Everybody else is senior, and they'll be picking, say, the top 4 automatically under 23s and top 4 automatically seniors to finish with the 2 discretionary places available after that. Can't see anybody from the NCAA in America particularly performing to a level to get one of those selectors' choices, if you like. So yeah, I think the trial will have quite a bearing on this. I can't think who else might rock up for a place and automatically grab one. So my prediction, I'd probably go something like Megan Keith, Jess Judd, Abby Donnelly, Amelia Quirk, Izzy Fry and Jess Gibbon. But your guess is as good as mine. Who knows? So look forward to that. Should be a competitive race. Plenty of them going for Great Britain team selection. So yeah, a lot to go for. Turning to the men, that race is just short of 10k. Only 5 of last year's top 10 are due to compete. There's no Emil Caress, Mark Scott, Mohammed, Ben Connor or Axel Van Christensen from Denmark on the entry list. So working our way through last year's top 10, the highest place finisher last year, Hugo Milner's, and he hasn't raced any straight endurance running races since March. He might have some triathlon form, of course, because he does cross over to triathlon. But when he does turn out, he tends to run pretty well. So you expect Hugo Milner to be in the mix, as he was last year when he finished second. And you got Jack Rowe, who was fourth last year. He won the Manchester Half Marathon in October and has been very focused on the road racing through sort of September, October. 8th last year, and probably picking up since then, is Zach Mohammed, who was the first Brit and 4th overall at Cardiff recently. He was also first in the Great South 10 miles in October. A really good racer, 9th last year, might have surprised a few, won't surprise a few this year, is Matt Stonia, who was 9th last year. He was 11th at Cardiff. Pretty good run, but seeing and knowing how Matt runs, you can expect him to be up for this. Very, very competitive, and not only that, he runs a very sensible race very regularly. So, good experience for somebody who's still quite young, but can expect him to cause a few surprises, especially in the last mile. You got Joe Wigfield, who was 10th last year. He was 3rd fastest at Mansfield, but he was on the first leg at Mansfield. But clearly in good form, and expect him to be gunning for a GB place. Then looking at those that ran at Cardiff, you got the Wheeler twins. George Wheeler was 7th at Cardiff. Charlie Wheeler was 8th. Both of them ran pretty aggressive races there, and may have come on a little bit even more from that. So from that experience, got Angus McMillan, who was fastest at Mansfield, ran the first leg there, but he was also 9th at Cardiff. Jack Miller was 18th at Cardiff. Phil Norman, the steeplechaser, was 20th at Cardiff. Kurt Taylor was 22nd at Cardiff. So there's a few there to compare form with. Not raced since February, but a class athlete on his day and has made Great Britain teams before, is Alex George, who's a 13:33 5,000 metre runner before from Birchfield. He's on the entry list. Alfie Manthorpe won the Wolverton 5 miles last weekend in 23:30. Can he translate some of that form to cross country? He's a decent athlete on his day, and another certainly top 20 prospect. Others who have been racing regularly through the year, very consistent, and I would expect all of them to be aiming at Great Britain slots. Ellis Cross, who was 13th in Spain recently. Jack Gray was 20th in Spain. And Callum Elson, who was 23rd in Spain, although Callum, from his YouTube channel, was hinting he is considering the short course trial, but he might even do the long course and then put his name forward for the short course relay team, who knows. But anyway, Callum and his teammate at Cambridge and Coleridge, Jack Gray, bound to be gunning for it, and they won the team title at Mansfield recently. Then we got Jacob Allen, who was in terrific form on the roads, led the Southern and the National Road Relay first leg very convincingly, and had a terrific run behind Zach Mohammed in the Great South 10 miles. His cross country not quite up to the level of the road, but he's run at Liverpool before, and no doubt will be going for it, and he won't hold back. So look out for Jacob in the colours of Highgate. Now, perhaps one of the most surprising names on the entry list, who it's going to be fascinating to see how he gets on, Callum Hawkins, who was 4th in the Great South 10 miles in October. Is he coming back into shape? I can remember going down to Gloucester when it was a quagmire for the Bucks cross country, and he put in a really convincing cross country display there, and he's been at the front of like European cross-country championships alongside his Scottish teammate, his Great Britain teammate, Andy Butchart. So it'd be fascinating to see if Callum runs, whether he puts something into the mix there to throw out us predictors. Ben Bradley from Aldershot, second in the Vitality London 10K, cracking run in September, fifth in the Great South Run. Maybe not quite right up there for cross country, but again, another top 20 prospect. Somebody who won't surprise a few because he's got great pedigree on the country and he's clearly in good form, is Callum Johnson from Gateshead. He's fourth fastest at Mansfield and he wasn't on the first leg. So I think that makes him fastest at Mansfield outside the first leg runners, actually. He won the Jarrah 10K in October in 29:30. He's the former national cross-country champion from 2020. So I think Callum could be a dark horse here, especially if it is pretty wet and muddy. He won't be fazed by it. He's got a great attitude. So, yeah, Callum Johnson, certainly in the mix. From Tunbridge, my club, James Kingston. He is the national cross-country champion. He was in terrific form back in February when he won that. He was 11th fastest at Mansfield. He's run some good road relay legs this autumn. The only cross-country he's really done head-to-head individually was the Kent League at Tunbridge, which he won. So James was, 13th, 14th last year, just missed out on the under-23 team last year. I like to think he's slightly better this year, so one of the under-23s might be in the mix for top 6 under-23s. Bit of a dark horse here. Dom Nolan, I noted, won the London champs, beating a very good Seifu Jamal from London Heathside. And Dom was 7th in the Great South 10 miles. At his best, a very good athlete. Not really been totally competitive at quite this level before, but it could be his day perhaps. Henry McCluskey comes with a strong reputation, track and road particularly. Last raced road 5K in September. He's been away training at altitude. Probably wouldn't do this unless he was in really good shape, and he's one of the under-23s to watch out for. Rory Leonard, based in the UK rather than America. He won a 10K in France early November. He ran a really fast leg at the National Road Relays in October. He's been at Font-Romeu training. Will always be up for this sort of trial, so expect him as an under-23 to be competing towards the front. There's still a few more. There's going to be a good race, this. Jamie Crowe, he was third 2 years ago at Liverpool. He was first at the Scottish Short Course Championships early November. He knows the course. He won't have his teammate from Central, Andy Butchart, there, but can he do it on his own? Johnny Davis, he ran at Mansfield. He was 7th fastest on the first leg. He ran a 63:45 at the Valencia half marathon. I think it was back in October. Former European under-23 cross-country champion, but not quite showing that form on the country in recent years. Will he come good? We got another under-23. Whether he'd be running or not, I don't know, because he's based at Boise State in the USA. He was 27th in the West Regionals on the 10th of November, and that's Josh Dickinson, who ran so well in the track season. If he comes back, Leeds City athlete, will certainly be up for an under-23 place. Sam Cholton, 9th at the Leeds Abbey Dash in October in 29:41. Moving up from the under-20s, but he's an under-23, so another one to take into consideration, as is Toma Tarragano. He ran the National Road Relays, and then he was second in the Birmingham League to Will Barnicoat recently. He was 11th last year, made the under-23 team, so he knows Liverpool well and could well compete for the under-23 team again. And then we got Will Barnicoat, who seems to be in terrific nick. He was 2nd fastest at Mansfield, chasing Callum Elson on the last leg for Aldershot. So, Yeah, I think I made a mistake there because he must have been the fastest lap outside the first leg runners. But there you go. So Will Barnicoat, and I think he'll be right up there. We've got Will Battersill, not quick at Mansfield though, the steeplechaser from Birmingham. Well, he's Bristol AC now, I see. I'm not sure. He won Bucks cross country, so on his day he's got it. But is he informed to do anything? And then another interesting entrant is Tom Evans, who I think, from looking at his Instagram, was due to race a 100-mile ultra distance race in South Africa, perhaps this weekend, but actually was mugged while training out there. And I think he's okay, but he's a bit beaten up and shook up. So all the best to Tom, who's recovering from that. I suspect he didn't have Liverpool in his plans really, and just entered it as a possibility. So there you go, loads to choose from there. Prediction. I've got Hugo Milner, Jack Rowe, Zach Mohammed, Will Barnicoat, Rory Leonard, Jamie Crow, maybe Callum Johnson if it's muddy. And I don't really predict Tunbridge athletes, so I'm not going to. James Kingston and plenty of others could get into the under-23 team. As I said, just run through those under-23s going. Everyone's seniors apart from James Kingston, Henry McCluskey, Rory Leonard, Josh Dickinson, Sam Charlton, Toma Tarragano, Will Barnicoat, from those that I mentioned. And I'm sure there'll be one or two others that come to the fore. And that's me. That's me done. Loads to look forward to. Just hope everyone stays reasonably healthy and can at least give it their best shot on Saturday, and see a few of you there. Cheers.